Hi, welcome to my channel. My name's Mindy and I'm going to be doing my first half of the month book haul. Um, let's get started. First book I have here is Marcus Saki, Written in Fire. And it says, for 30 years, humility struggled to cope with the brilliant, the I, or the 1% of people born with remarkable gifts. For 30 years, we tried to avoid a devastating civil war. We failed. The White House is a smoking ruin. Madison Square Garden is an internment camp. In Wyoming, an armed militia of thousands of marches towards a final apocalyptic battle. Nick Cooper has spent his life fighting for his children and his country. Now, as the world staggers on the edge of ruin, he must risk everything he loves to face his oldest enemy, a brilliant terrorist so driven by his ideals that he would sacrifice humanity's future to achieve them. And this is an arc, and it doesn't say when it comes out, but I think it's already out. It's the book 3 of the Brilliance trilogy, and I got the other 2 to read before I read this one. Ugh. Excuse me. Ugh. Okay. And then the next book I have is all of these are books I got from publishers. So this is an arc, and it was due out, on Sunday, I guess. But anyway, it's called Children of Paradise by Fred D'Arguar. I know I messed up that name, but in this beautiful imagined novel based on the horrific true events at Jim Jones's utopian commune in Guyana, the acclaimed novelist, playwright, and poet Fred D'Arguar returns to the land of his youth, interweaving magical realism and shocking history into a story that resonates with love, faith, oppression, and sacrifice, in which a mother and daughter attempt to break free from the help of an unlikely ally, an extraordinary gorilla. So that sounds interesting. And then the next book is The Never Open Desert Diner by James Anderson, and it's due out in March of this year. And it says a masterful written debut novel about a desert where people go to escape their pasts, and a truck driver who finds himself at risk when he falls in love with a mysterious woman. So that sounds interesting. And the next one is The Glittering Court by Rochelle Mead, and it's due out in April of this year. And big and sweeping, spanning the defined palaces of Osfrid to the gold dust and untamed forest of Adoria, The Glittering Court tells the story of Adelaide, an Osfridian countess who poses as her servant to escape an arranged marriage and starts a new life in Adoria, the New World. But to do that, she must join the Glittering Court. Both a school and a business venture, the Glittering Court is designed to transform impoverished girls into upper-class ladies who appear destined for power and wealthy marriages in the New World. Adelaide naturally excels in her training and even makes a few friends: the fiery former laundress Tamsin and the beautiful Sermerkian refugee Mira. She manages to keep her true identity hidden from all but one, the intriguing Cedric Thorne, a son of the wealthy proprietor of the Glittering Court. When Adelaide discovers that Cedric is hiding a dangerous secret of his own, they hatch a scheme to make the best of Adelaide's deception. Complications soon arise, first as they cross the treacherous seas from Osfrid to Adoria, and later when Adelaide catches the attention of a powerful governor. But no complication will prove quite as daunting as the potent attraction simmering between Adelaide and Cedric, an attraction that, if acted on, would scandalize the Glittering Court and make them both outcasts in wild, vastly uncharted lands. And then the next book is called The Vanishing Season, and it's due out in July well, it was due out in July of last year, maybe 7/14, the vanishing of 2 years ago. From the New York City Times bestseller author Jodi Lynn Anderson comes a friendship story bound in snow and starlight, a haunting mystery of love, betrayal, redemption, and the moments that we leave behind. Girls started vanishing in the fall, and now winter's come to lay a white sheet over the horror. From beneath the house on Water Street, I've watched the danger swell. The residents know me as the noises in the house at night, the creaking on the stairs. I'm the reflection behind them in the glass, the feeling of fear in the cellar. I'm tied, it seems, to this house, this street, this town. I'm tied to Maggie and Pauline, though I don't know why. I think it's because death is coming for one of them, or both. So that sounds interesting. And then this book, which is came out December of last year, Not If I See You First. Everyone has secrets. Everyone is a secret. In the tradition of novels by Gail Forman and Matthew Quick comes a witty and poignant YA debut about a blind teen girl navigating life and love in high school. Parker Grant is a junior in high school who loves to run, has great friends, and isn't afraid to speak her mind, especially when it comes to how stupid some people can be around a blind person like her. The only topic to avoid is how Parker feels about the boy who broke her heart in 8th grade, who has just transferred to her school. And as long as she can keep giving herself gold stars for every day she hasn't cried since her dad's death 3 months ago, she'll be just fine, right? And that sounds interesting too. And this was by Eric Hildstrom. And the next one is News of the World by Paulette Giles. And this comes out next month in March. From the author of Enemy Women comes an exquisitely rendered, morally complex, multi-layered novel of historical fiction that explores the boundaries of family, responsibility, honor, and trust. In the wake of the Civil War, 70-year-old retired Army Captain Jefferson Kyle Kidd travels through northern Texas giving live readings from East Coast newspapers to paying audiences. An elderly widower who has lived through 3 wars and fought in 2 of them, the captain enjoys his rootless, solitary existence. In Wichita Falls, he is offered a $50 gold piece to deliver a young orphan to her relatives in San Antonio. 4 years earlier, a band of Kiowa raiders killed Johanna's parents and sister, sparing the little girl. They raised her as one of their own. Recently rescued by the U.S. Army, the 10-year-old has once again been torn away from the only home she knows. Their 400-mile journey south through unsettled territory and unforgiving terrain proves difficult and at times dangerous. Johanna has forgotten the English language, tries to escape at every opportunity, throws away her shoes, and refuses to act civilized. Yet as the miles pass, the 2 lonely survivors tentatively begin to trust each other, forming a bond that marks the difference between life and death in this treacherous land. In San Antonio, the reunion is neither happy nor welcome. The captain must hand Johanna over to an aunt and uncle she does not remember, strangers who regard her as an unwanted burden. A respectable man, Captain Kidd is faced with a terrible choice: abandon the girl to her fate or become, in the eyes of the law, a kidnapper himself. And the next book is called The Trap by Melanie Rabe, and it's due out in July 5th, 2016. A reclusive author sets the perfect trap for her sister's murderer, but is he really the killer? The renowned author Linda Conrads is famous for more than just her best-selling novels. For over 11 years, she has mystified fans by never setting foot outside her home. Far-fetched, sometimes sinister rumors surround the shut-in writer, but they pale in comparison to the cruel truth. Linda is haunted by the unsolved murder of her younger sister, whom she discovered in a pool of blood 12 years ago, and by the face of the man she saw fleeing the scene. Now plagued by uncertainty and panic attacks, Linda copes with debilitating anxiety by secluding herself in her house, her last safe haven. But the sanctity of this refuge is shattered when her sister's murderer appears again, this time on her television screen. Empowered with sudden knowledge that hobbled by but hobbled by years of isolation, Linda resolves to use her only means of communication with the outside world, the plot of her next novel, to lay an irresistible trap for the man. But as the plan is set in motion and the past comes rushing back, Linda's memories of that traumatic night and her very sanity are called into question. Is this man really a heartless killer or merely a helpless victim? And the next one is called Keep Me Posted, which is out on April 5th of this year. And it's by Lisa Beasley. And what would happen if the intimate secrets you shared with your sister suddenly went viral? That's what happens in this book. That sounds interesting, since we're all connected with the internet in some way. And then next book is Love That Boy, on sale April of this year. It says, what 2 presidents, 8 road trips, and my son taught me about a parent's expectations. This illuminating and touching book gives us the great gift of letting us know and appreciate the Asperger's world of young Tyler Fournier, who steals scenes from the presidents while teaching his parents and all of us what is important in life. Okay, and The Precious One by Marissa de los Santos. And I don't see when this comes out. But with warmth, humor, and a light, sure touch, Marissa de los Santos tells a big-hearted story. In all her life, Estacia Tassi Clary has given her heart to only 3 men. Her first love, Ben Ramsey, her twin brother, Marcus, and Wilson Clary, professor, inventor, philanderer, self-made millionaire, brilliant man, breathtaking jerk, her father. 17 years ago, Wilson ditched his first family for Caroline, a beautiful young sculptor. In all that time, Tazy's family has seen Wilson, Caroline, and their daughter Willow only once. Why then is Wilson calling Tazy now, inviting her for an extended visit, encouraging her to meet her pretty sister, a teenager who views her with jealousy, mistrust, and grudging admiration? Why now does Wilson want Tazy to help him write his memoir? Told in alternating voices, Tazy's strong, unsparing observations and Willow's naive, heartbreakingly earnest yearnings, The Precious One is an unforgettable novel of family secrets, lost love, and dangerous obsession. A captivating tale with the deep characterization, piercing emotional resonance, and heartfelt insight that are the hallmarks of Maria de los Santos' beloved works. Sorry about the glare. Next one is Remembrance, a Mediator novel by Meg Cabot. And this is not the final cover. The final cover is supposed to come. It comes out this month. It says 15 years after the release of the first Mediator novel, #1 New York Times bestseller author Meg Cabot returns with a deliciously sexy new entry to a fan favorite series. You can take the boy out of the darkness, but you can't take the darkness out of the boy. All Susanna Simon wants is to make a good impression at her first job since graduating from college, and since becoming engaged to Dr. Jesse De Silva. But when she's hired as a guidance counselor at her alma mater, she stumbles across a decade-old murder, and soon ancient history isn't all that's coming back to haunt her. Old ghosts as well as new ones are coming out of the woodwork. Some to test her, some to vex her, and it isn't only because she's a mediator gifted with second sight. From a sophomore haunted by the murderous specter of a child to ghosts of a very different kind, including Paul Slater, Susie's ex, who shows up to make a bargain Susie is certain must have come from the devil himself. Susie isn't sure she'll make it through the semester, let alone to her wedding night. Susie is used to striking first and asking questions later. But what happens when ghosts from her past, including one she found nearly impossible to resist, strike first? What happens when old ghosts come back to haunt you? If you're a mediator, you might have to kick a little ass. Okay, and this book is What the Waves Know by Tamara Valentine, and it's due out this month. In the tradition of a Sue Monk Kidd and Beth Hoffman comes a compelling debut novel about a young woman's quest to find herself and her voice on the island where she lost both. The tiny state of Rhode Island is home to even tinier Tillings Island, which witnessed the biggest event of Isabel Ray Hayward's life, for it was there, on Izzy's 6th birthday, that her father left and took her voice with him. 8 years later, in the summer of 1974, Iz's mother is through with social workers, psychiatrists, and her daughter's silence. In one last attempt to return Iz's voice, the motley pair board the ferry to Tillings in hopes that the journey will help Isabel heal herself by piecing together splintered memories of the day her words fled. But heartbreak is a difficult puzzle to solve, and everyone in Tillings seems to know something Iz does not. Worse, each has an opinion about Bella's dreamer of a father, the undercurrents of whose actions have spun so many lives off course. Now, as the island's annual Yamaya festival prepares to celebrate the ties that bind mothers to children, lovers to each other, and humankind to the sea, Isabel must unravel the tangled thread of her own history and reclaim a voice gone silent, or risk losing herself and any chance she may have for the future to the past. What the Waves Know is a moving, magical novel that asks us to consider the stories that tell the truth and the stories we tell ourselves. And then I got The Big Rewind, which came out on the 2nd of this month, by Libby Cudmore. Raymond Chandler meets Nick Hornby in this clever noir romp through hipster Brooklyn when a mysterious mixtape puts a young amateur sleuth on the hunt for a killer and for the truths hidden within her own heart. Jet Bennett moved to New York to become a music journalist. What she found was a temp gig as a proofreader, but at least she's fitting in with the artists and the musicians in the tragically hip Brooklyn neighborhood she calls home. But when Jet opens up her mail and finds a mixtape meant for her neighbor Kit Kat, a local queen bee renowned for her enhanced baked goods and retro video game collection, everything changes. Jet drops off the cassette and discovers that it's game over for Kit Kat. Someone bashed her head in with a rolling pin and left her pot brownies burning in the oven. Kit Kat's boyfriend, Bronco, is MIA. Her sister is so desperate for answers that she asks Jet to snoop around. Then there's that mixtape. Jet didn't know Kit Kat well, she knows music. And a tape full of love songs from somebody other than Bronco screams motive, sending Jet and her best friend Sid on an epic quest through record stores, strip joints, vegan bakeries, and basement nightclubs to find Kit Kat's killer, a journey that resonates with Jet and her past in unexpected ways. And the next book is Song of Silence by Cynthia Ruchti. It's going to come out on April 5th, 2016. Music taught Lucy love and beauty. Could silence teach her hope? Lucy and Charlie Tuttle agree on one thing. They're committed to each other for life. Trouble is, neither of them expected life to look like this. While Charlie retired early, Lucy is devoted to a long-term career until the day she has no choice. Forced to retire from her position as a music educator in a small Midwestern K-8 school, Lucy can only watch helplessly as the program her father started years ago disintegrates before her eyes. As the music fades and a chasm separates her from the passion of her heart, Lucy wonders if her faith's song has gone silent too. Excuse me. The musical score of her life seems to be missing all the notes. When a simple misstep threatens to silence Lucy forever, a young boy and his soundless mother change the way she sees and hears everything. And last but not least is Playlists for the Dead by Michelle Folkoff. And this came out January of last year. And it says, here's what Sam knows. There was a party. there was a fight. The next morning, his best friend Hayden was dead, and all he left Sam was a playlist of songs and a suicide note. For Sam, listen and you'll understand. But as Sam listens to song after song, what he can't figure out is why. Part mystery, part love story, and part coming-of-age tale in the vein of The Perks of Being a Wallflower and The Spectacular Now. Playlist for the Dead is an honest and gut-wrenching first novel about loss, rage, and what it feels like to outgrow a friendship that's always defined you, and the struggle to redefine yourself. But above all, it's about finding hope when hope seems like the hardest thing to find. Well, that's all the books I got the first half of the month. So, thanks for coming, and thanks for watching. And if there's any that you'd be interested in, then go out and find them. They all look good. So, I'm hoping to get to some of them this month and next month. So, thanks for stopping by. Bye.